to show you how to tie the Royal Coachman trude. It's a dry fly that has gained quite a lot of popularity the latest time, and it's an excellent searching pattern, but it also has a number of suggestive features that makes it capable of imitating most of the food items that trout and grayling eat. The materials we are going to use are golden pheasant tippet fibers for the tail. The body is made out of peacock herl. We have a midsection, as with all the Royal Coachman patterns, of red tying silk. The wing is composed of fur from the snowshoe hare foot, and then we add a hackle of brown cock. Start by attaching the thread to the hook. On our way down we can tie in the tail. It's a matter of taste here, but I prefer using just a few fibers, a relatively sparse tail, so maybe 5 fibers or something like that. Make them even and measure their length. I don't want them too short either. I think that's just about the right length. Like that. We can trim the excess. And we tie in the body material also. I use 3 strands of peacock herl. There we have it. Secure it with a few tight turns of tying thread, and then we can start winding the body. Myself, I always wind peacock herl by twisting it together with the tying thread. Some people make another loop of the tying thread and spin it with, but in my opinion this is faster and more accurate because, you know, you wind just one element. There's no tying thread in the way because it's part of the body, and it's a lot stronger if you reinforce it with tying thread. Now remember, we have a midsection of silk. The 2 sections of peacock herl should be about of equal size, and how big then you want the middle section of red silk is totally up to you, but I think it's neat if you just make it a third of each. So 1/3 of peacock herl, then you can separate those fibers, tie them down, like that. Now, what I do, this, as you notice, is not a red tying thread. So I trim this excess, like that. And then I secure my tying thread. And what I'm going to do is simply to remove it, and now I add gossamer silk in the color scarlet, or just red simply. And I wind with my bobbin then this midsection to the length and thickness I desire. One thing that can be very neat is if you make this midsection very thin. That of course requires that if you use, for example, gossamer silk, you only make about 2 layers, so you have to place those turns of silk fairly accurate. And I don't always do that, so I maybe make a few more layers. Just, you don't want too much. I think that's about the right amount. And then I secure the silk, because I'm going to reattach my grey tying thread. You can also use red tying thread. In that case, you just wind this middle section right on, without having to mess with the whip finishes. And then we reattach the peacock herl, and there is a sufficient amount left to tie this front peacock section. so there's no need to add extra picot curl. You don't want to waste your precious material. And then we twist it with a thread, as previously. We want to leave space for wing and hackle. Now, about these suggestive features, there's a tail, like a mayfly. The body has two clumps of picot curl, like an ant or a wasp of some kind. And then we have a wing alongside the body, a trude wing, and a conventional hackle. And that's what I mean, that it can imitate a lot of different insects, because it has all of these different attributes in one fly. Alright, the wing. Now originally I believe calf tail was used for the wing, but I like snowshoe hair because it is very buoyant. It is naturally water repellent, a bit like CDC, and it might even float better than CDC. It's fairly coarse, and the texture varies from coarse material to very fine fur, and I usually remove the very finest fur. I don't find that they float and trap air quite as good as the coarser fibers. Then really secure this wing with the tying thread, and if you're satisfied with the result, I think that's just about right. The wing might be a little too long in comparison to the body, but that's up to you how you would like to have it. And then I just add my hackle. One problem you sometimes face when you wind the hackle like I do, by winding it backwards, is that you can have this slope of tying thread that the hackle wants to glide down, and that can sometimes be a problem, but what I do then is to simply fill out these hills of tying thread with more tying thread till I have a proper taper to wind the hackle on. And then we can start winding it. I like to have, if you compare the hackle density to the density of the wing, I would personally like to have more than just a few turns of hackle. Especially if I know I'm going to use this as a searching pattern in faster waters, just to help it float a little better. And if I'm sure the hackle is secured, I can let go of the pliers. Then I wind through with the thread with as few turns as possible to reinforce the hackle. Like that. Then when that's done, I trim the hackle, and I can do my whip finish. And that is the Royal Coachman Trude done.